I want to play you guys a clip of Pat McAfee once again finding a reason to be upset with ESPN and to attack ESPN and get profane with ESPN. And I can't wait to hear you all's take about what's really going on here. Let's play the clip.
Games are happening. So I go to X. I'm like, all right, what's going on? Well, let me go to the college football account. You know, this should have me.
They'll tell me.
Nothing. Not a single activity. So then I'm like, well, why would that be the case? So then ESPN's actual account puts out the list, puts out the whole thing. I'm like, thank you, ESPN account. Mm-hmm. But shouldn't the college football account be doing that? Shouldn't that be something?
Think.
Yeah, definitely.
Shouldn't that be just like a one-stop shop for everything that's going on, especially in this brand new time? Mm-hmm. You would think it would be the case. So hopefully that takes place. I think the people running that have no idea what they're doing.
Sure.
But hopefully, inevitably, that'll change.
Or even like highlights. You know, I'm watching a big college game on ESPN. You know, you watch NFL games, you watch NBA, you watch, hey, as soon as something happens, touchdown happens, sack, interception, I can go right to the account, see it, maybe post it myself. None of it.
What about the storylines, too? Like storylines like, hey, Georgia, this is a must-win game.
Yeah.
You know, you would think maybe... No, nothing.
What the hell are they doing?
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. It's 3 million followers, too. That's a pretty big...
It's a big
massive.
account.
It's pretty big. At some point, it had to have something, right? Because people don't just follow that for no reason.
I mean, nobody's probably on X. Who's using X these days?
Yeah, I guess that's
dying platform.
Oh, yeah, I remember that a couple years ago. I was giving a full speech by somebody at ESPN about how we're not using Twitter anymore. Okay? Nobody's on it. And they started putting these numbers up. Look how many people are on YouTube. Yeah. I'm like, well, you can't just take every Google search number and put that in there. Yep, that's who's on it.
Yes, you can.
Look how many people were on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so every human that has an account, okay, you're going to compete that against Twitter, of course. And then look at TikTok's rise, and look how many little. And Elon bought it. This thing ain't even going to exist on Monday. So don't even do it. It's like, did that one win the presidency? Did this one over here? Did this one? Does this one kind of have a little bit of say, maybe? And do people get all their news from this particular app? I think so. So maybe a little bit more of activity there from ESPN, especially if you're going to own all the rights to the playoffs.
All the biggest games.
If you're going to spend billions of dollars on this brand new playoff, maybe there should be a vehicle of information on your phone that people can just go to very easily and see it all. But what will we know?
He's complaining about how ESPN runs its Twitter account, and I don't get it. He's making a molehill into a mountain. It must be intentional. He got profane, I think, a little bit later in that rant. He started dropping MFs or whatever. What is Pat McAfee doing, Steve? My best theory is it's his job to be the MAGA guy over at ESPN so that ESPN can say, hey, we're fair and balanced.
You know, Pat's just a rising young internet talent. He's just trying to get his name out there. You know, because he doesn't get exposed enough. But, Jason, this is what happens when you are insulated with your own built-in platform and brand that, look, could other people or other cast members of that Disney family do this? Do they have the leverage? No, but he does. And guess what? Maybe he is playing a role, but he's also enforcing his own leverage and saying, hey, guys, I'm kind of important. I have an ego. And on these college football accounts, I'm on the College Game Day show. You better include me. And you know what? I kind of like it because the reality is this. ESPN should have known who they were getting in bed with. And to be fair, Pat McAfee should have known what he was getting into. So I find this whole thing fascinating. But Pat McAfee, right now, at that network, he is the proverbial 800-pound gorilla. And he's going to sit where he damn pleases.
So he's going to pick every fight with ESPN and have the fight out in public every time over how they run a Twitter account. I think he could make better use of his time. There must be something deeper involved here. Because again, to point to Elon Musk, he just won the presidency, basically. That's him bat signaling, I'm good with Musk, I'm good with Twitter, I'm good with Donald Trump, I'm your MAGA guy. Maybe he wants Elon Musk to come on College Game Day. I don't know. But I just don't think he could be picking all these public fights. He got Norby Williamson fired. He's had Aaron Rodgers on when everybody else was against him. Everybody knows that he's willing to stand up to ESPN. I just think there must be something deeper going on here. I think this has been approved by Bob Iger, and I think of McAfee's relationship with the WWE. He knows what a work is. He knows how to play the heel. He knows how to play a role. And I think back to, I played you all the clips from Ben Strauss and John Oran, where it's clear as day, according to these guys. Ben Strauss works for the Washington Post. John Oran that works for Sports Business Journal. They cover the sports media intensely. ESPN is trying desperately to pivot away from we're the woke network. They're trying to say we're the even-handed network. And I think it's Pat McAfee's job that he's the MAGA heel. That this is Vince McMahon is writing this script.
Let's be honest. The insurance model is broken. Crowd Health puts your health care back in your hands. Use the promo code FEARLESS at joincrowdhealth.com. That's joincrowdhealth.com, promo code FEARLESS.
Writing this script.
Well, let's put it this way, okay, with the WWE/WWF analogy. And like I said, I admit it, there was a period of time in my much younger days that I was a fan. Maybe he's their Roddy Piper, and his show is one big Piper's Pit. And you know what? If he's going to go all the way and be the disruptor, you know what? Maybe just time after time, day after day, he's going to get that one coconut, two coconut, and shove it right in the face of whoever is his Jimmy Superfly Snuka. And by the way, greatest moment ever in WWF history. So maybe he's that guy. Maybe he's the hot rod or the modern ESPN. I find it entertaining because I know this for a fact. With some of those sub-accounts on Twitter with different sports at ESPN, the people that handle those accounts, they have their own biases and prejudices, and you could see it sometimes. And maybe this is his way, Pat McAfee, of saying, hey, buddy, you don't have to like me, but trust me, I matter. So if I'm on that coverage, I better be included. You know what? I kind of respect the consistency.
I wondered when this whole thing started because I became a fan of Pat McAfee because he wasn't on ESPN. And I think there was a lot of people that were seeking alternate ways to consume sports and sports talk away from ESPN because ESPN basically decided I wasn't their customer anymore. And I was curious how him going to that network was going to affect his viewership because I think a lot of people really wanted an alternative to ESPN. I think they've done a great job of allowing this guy the freedom to just rail and go. He does have the power. I think it's working. You know, you talk about the Varsity interview that you're mentioning. I think there's a lot of truth to it. ESPN, compared to like Fox, I feel like Fox has gotten preachy and much more in the liberal lane. And I think ESPN is really running this thing, whether it's an intentional thing and it's authentic, it's working.
Fox Sports, and has Fox Sports gotten preachy? You know, Emmanuel Acho certainly comes off.
I feel like Colin has.
Colin Cowherd.
Cowherd definitely has.
Nick Wright.
Donald. Yeah.
Nick Wrong.
Huh. Well, I gotta marinate on that because I gotta marinate more on that. Just yeah, there is
Jason,
some truth to that, but yeah.
What's the worst that's going to happen to McAfee here if he pushes too hard? He's going to get let go from ESPN, and all of a sudden it's free agency, and he still has his own platform and his own brand. And guess what? There will be some other brand or corporate sponsors that will say, we're going to even pay you even more money, and you can have true freedom. He has all the leverage here. And after all the left-wing Marxist propaganda that has been spewed out by that network for the better part of a dozen years, I find McAfee to be downright patriotic and refreshing. Keep at it, Pat. Don't stop.
Okay, let's ESPN or Fox Sports has gotten preachy. Preachier than Ryan Clark? No. Preachier than Sarah Spain? And again, she's kind of on the fringe. She's not mainstream. But Ryan Clark is the preachiest person in sports media.
But there's a balance, counterbalance to that now on ESPN. I don't think anybody cares. I don't care if anybody has those opinions as long as there's a counterbalance or somebody else speaking up on it. And that's where I think ESPN is going. There's no one on Fox saying these things.
Yeah, I want to make this point. I think there's a line between, or a difference between preachy and whiny. I think Ryan Clark is really whiny. And a lot of whatever the more provocative statements he makes, in all fairness, are on the pivot. That's his own platform. I don't think he's really that over the top, at least nowadays on ESPN, at least from what I have observed.
And we've certainly seen, like, Shannon Sharp's not really preachy on ESPN or even much with Club Shay Shay. Stephen A. Smith tries to both sides the issue, but he's even piped down. Haven't heard much. Elle Duncan hasn't done much recently. Malika Andrews hasn't been wagging her finger. Wow. I just don't buy it, though. Yeah. I it's a gimmick. I just don't buy it. I think, but maybe I should. Maybe Ben Strauss and John Oren, maybe there is some legitimacy to it that Fox Sports is the preachy, whiny network, and but ESPN's brand is so damaged. I don't think they can recover. And maybe they think they can. Maybe they think they can get Donald Trump or Elon Musk to come on their network, and that would be the moment where they would, stick a flag in the sand and say, "Yep, we've changed. We're both sides in the issue." But ESPN's done so much damage to their brand. Can they recover from that, from being the woke network?
Well, Jason, I look back at the time when Curt Schilling was basically jettisoned from that network because he was a right-hander. And I don't mean his pitching. There was a systematic silencing of anyone that was not far left. Okay? And I actually find McAfee to be quite refreshing. And it's not like I watch him every day, but I appreciate the renegade spirit that, hey, I'm untouchable. I'm a monster. You got into business with me. Now you got to deal with it.
I think these big conglomerates have the ability, just like in the music business, when technology changes, sometimes they're a little slow to maneuver how they go about distributing their content and creating their content. The music business got hammered by Spotify. I think ESPN has the depth, the money, and the history to pivot. So I think a company that big can withstand this and can recover because of how powerful and how funded they are.
If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Fearless.